Are you a business owner or employee who needs to network but is terrified of walking into a room full of people you don't know? Are you afraid of being left out of conversations or being awkward in the conversations you do have? Your tour guide, Faithann, is here to walk alongside you through the networking terrain, offering tips and tricks to network with ease. She'll also bring insightful interviews with successful business owners who have used networking to expand their businesses. Building relationships is the heart of networking, and generosity is the cruise ship that will navigate you toward those important relationships for your business or career. Grab your sunscreen and suitcase. Faithann is ready. Are you?
Hello there, and welcome to the Networkers Tour Guide podcast. I'm glad you found the show. Networking is providing opportunities for others that they would not have except for you, so that you have standing to ask for opportunities from people when you need them. How do we create opportunities for others, and how do we ask for those same opportunities? Well, that's what this podcast is all about. It's what I'm here for. Let's dive into episode 37. Hello, listeners, and welcome to another episode of the Networkers Tour Guide podcast. I'm so glad that you came back to the show to listen to more networking tips and tricks. And I have a wonderful guest with me. I have Connor Quinn with Connor Quinn Voices LLC. He has so graciously agreed to join me for a wonderful discussion. You're going to get so much value out of this. Connor, thanks for saying yes to coming on.
Well, Faithann, thank you for extending the invitation. I'm so, if after this has been in the works for so long with your podcast, so I am truly honored to be on the podcast. I love it.
I will say it's a little intimidating bringing on a voiceover guest, because every word I'm saying, I'm thinking, oh, I'm probably not enunciating that well enough. Here we have this professional voiceover coming on my podcast. So listeners, the first voice that you hear on this podcast is Connor's voice. And we met through networking. And
we sure did.
Our guest on, I don't know which episode, but an earlier episode of the podcast, Amy Singleton, was the one who introduced us. We met at a networking meeting. And one of the things that I want to tell you all is that when you network, these types of professionals like Connor, who seem to the small business owner so out of touch, so unreachable, then become very, very accessible. So if I hadn't met you, Connor, I would have never thought that I could even afford a professional to open up the Networkers Tour Guide podcast. And that's one of the things that networking has done for me as a business owner in both of my businesses. It brings these professionals that aren't very common, that we might be a little hesitant to Google, and it puts them right next to us. We're eating the baked potatoes together. You know, you're having barbecue, I'm having baked potato, and we're talking about life together. And I love that. And so, Connor, you can tell the listeners, about what you do, and then we'll get into some networking tips and tricks from a professional voiceover.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, it's so important that, exactly what you're saying. A lot of times when you're networking, you're exposed to individuals from different walks of life that you never really thought that you would interact with. And on the surface, you may be thinking, I probably will never need this service. But the great thing about networking, and we were talking about this before the show, is that when you're talking at the networking, you're actually giving an introduction for that person to use to other people. So they become like an agent for you. They're selling your ideas and vice versa. That's networking by definition. And it's just letting you be more accessible. Like you were saying, like how many times have you ever thought of hiring a voiceover? Never. Why would, Faithann need a voiceover? And then it clicked. You were having a podcast. You've heard my elevator pitches. We've worked on elevator pitches together. And you hired me to, do your podcast. And yeah, I think that there's so many things out there, whether they're into real estate or if they're into financial services, whatever they're in, the niche it needs to be exposed to or introduced to other people at the meeting so that they understand how can I get their information out there. So yeah, voiceover, there's probably not many people that actually do voiceover at networking events for a living. For the most part, we have agents and we get jobs and that sort of thing. But, Oklahoma is so important to me, and I just really enjoy working with small and medium companies that are based here in Oklahoma, mom and pop, small business owners. And, that's something I work up against all the time is because I do a lot of national campaigns. They hear my voice for different national commercials and all over the United States. And that's something I work against all the time is people say, I can't afford you, but
Mm,
you can because most of the people I work with are small and medium companies. Not, yeah, I mean, there is the McDonald's, there's the Sandals Resorts and all this other stuff that I do, but that's just a different market and a different client.
mhm.
But here in Oklahoma, uh, a lot of people can use me more than they think, either for podcast or maybe just to help get their video message out on social media. And sometimes it helps having a third person do the talking, do the heavy lifting, and talk about you. Because we're not all great, including myself, talking about ourselves. And that's where you come in with your expertise of helping them perfect their elevator pitch, because it's very important that they're able to talk with confidence about what they are bringing to the plate. And it's funny how you and we work kind of hand in hand with someone that's kind of new to networking, that there's a lot of tips and tricks just in life in general, but at networking, what you practice in there, you practice in real life.
Right.
Being confident, having a short elevator pitch that you mentioned to someone getting coffee. Hey, what do you do? And here comes the little 10-second, 15-second little blurb. And if they're interested, they'll ask more. If not, they file it away with your business card.
Right.
And, with that is projection and all the different things about enunciation. How many times in networking it's they get up and they have it so memorized and they say it so fast that I don't even understand their name, much less what they do,
Right.
because they're so used to the same people being at the networking event that they're kind of thinking the people know them. But actually, your name and what you're doing is the most important thing. So
Right.
you definitely need to make an impression with your name of who you are and what do you do. I've never met you. And I think that when we're nervous, most people they speak fast. I'm the king of that. And in voiceovers, there's a lot of times I have to speak fast, selling cars or whatever. But when you slow down, it's more understandable. People are listening and they're we don't always have that luxury when we're doing a 30-second pitch, but we don't need to try to get through so much information. I'd rather have quality than quantity. I would rather be clear who they are and what service you provide or what problem you solve, rather than just like what we were talking about. Oh, I have 15 locations throughout Oklahoma. We're also in Tulsa. We're expanding to Dallas. But okay, that's great. But what do you do?
Right. Right.
What kind of people can I help get into your door? What are people that I can give your business card to? So
Right.
that's important. That's otherwise you're wasting your time at networking. You're getting lunch and you're being social, but make the most of it because it's your business.
Right.
It is your business to be in your business. So you make the most of it by learning. A cheap, shameless plug for Faithann. If you want to learn to perfect not only your voice but your message, the message is more important than the voice because I never get hired for this voice here.
Mm.
I don't. Very rarely do they want an announcer anymore. They want the
Mm.
guy next door because
Oh, yeah.
a lot of the kids today, they grew up with their peers saying, "Hey, I just got back from Best Buy and I just bought. Oh my gosh, watch me open this. This is incredible. Look at the packaging." When I was a kid, and later on, because I'm much older than you, but also when you were growing up, we had some silly guy saying, "This is silly putty, and you must, da, da, da." That's the kind of people that we were used to selling. We were being sold to. A lot of millennials and younger, they don't want to be sold to.
Mhm.
Actually, none of us want to be sold to. We
Right.
just want help with what we're doing and find out what service they are. But you're right. It's so important that you get this correct. Otherwise, you're almost just spinning your wheels in a networking meeting and wondering, why am I not getting leads or how come people aren't calling me?
Right. Well, one of the things that I tell people too is you mentioned several mistakes, and one of them also is just not treating that 60 seconds like it's special. They just stand up and just whatever is going to come to them is going to come to them. And you should
Right.
treat that like, how often do you have the undivided attention of 20 to 30 people? That never
Right.
happens except specifically for networking. unless you are
That's true.
unless you speak on stages. But those opportunities aren't open usually to the plumber,
Right.
the real estate agent. So you have 60 seconds, and they don't realize that's 60 whole seconds. And they are
That's
watching
right.
you, and they're paying attention to everything you're doing, not just what you're saying, but everything. And I think
Absolutely.
subconsciously, your confidence shows. Like people read other people, and they can, if you're not confident that you can solve the problem, why in the world would I hire you anyway? If you don't have
Right.
enough confidence for your own self, why would I refer you? Why would I hire you?
Absolutely.
So that's why it's so important. I want to ask you real quick before you give us. I'm so excited for you to share more of these tips for specifically for your voice when you do have
Right.
when you're on that quote unquote stage of 60 seconds. But what I'm
Sure.
curious about, because you did relocate here from California, and you decided to help small business owners in Oklahoma. What was it like, this decision you made to say to yourself, because I imagine that networking would almost be like a step down. I mean, here you are, you're Hollywood, you have these agents, they're getting jobs for you, and you come to Oklahoma. So what was it like when you decided that you were actually going to network on behalf of Connor Quinn Voices?
It's interesting because when you're talking about Fortune 500 companies, they are entities. They are not individuals. McDonald's, the Burger Kings, the WalMarts, and Amazons. They're really not. They're kind of a faceless entity. But when we work in small businesses at these networking events throughout Oklahoma or wherever you're happen to be at, then you get the face and you get the story and you get the legacy of a family that's working to put bread on the table. They really care about their clients because those are their neighbors. Those are the people that went through a tornado together. Those are the people that are getting the tax hikes with you in your town, or all the stuff. Your teams win, your teams lose. I mean, everything that it's community, the village, we all experience that together. So I think to me, it was not a step down. It was a step up because I learned the respect of these are people that they don't have $1 billion. They don't have $1 million. Some people may only have, $30 in their account or something. They're making ends meet the best that they can. And they're putting on their best face, their courageous face, and they're hoping tomorrow will be better than today because it will be.
Mm-hmm.
And they are taking a first step by networking and by getting help from people like yourself or me that are showing them here's how the way to be confident, because we usually hire to our weakness. We hire someone because of what we can't do, either because it's a time constraint, it's not part of our ROI, or simply we don't have the knowledge or expertise to fix the garage door or the screen door or the car. So we hire and we look for people that are our weakness that we need to get help from. And networking, it's important that you exude confidence in a positive way, not in a pushy way, a salesy way, or a bullish way, but someone that says, I'm here, I'm with you, let's grab coffee, let's talk about your situation, and let's see how I can help. That to me just it meant so much, as opposed to going into recording studios and speaking for 30 people that represent whatever company, and it's none of them. Tomorrow they may be going to another company, but it's not their company.
Mm.
But some of these people that we work with here in Oklahoma have been there for generations. Maybe their parents started the company, or maybe her and her husband just started the company last week and they're hoping to get their family off the ground with their dreams. To me, there's so much more passion and urgency
Mm-hmm.
because there's real people behind this. They're not McDonald's. They're not, a multi-faceted company. They may only have one location, or they might be working out of, uh, their living room on a laptop, hoping that they can make ends meet. There's so much. The what people don't realize is the backbone of business in the United States is small businesses. It isn't the Amazons. It isn't the Walmarts. I mean, those are great. We all use that, but it's the mom and pop organizations. If we ever were to lose those small companies, then I think we've lost our way. Uh,
Mm.
that's what the hope of this country, I think, is that we can create our own opportunities. And so that confidence needs to come across in your message because like you say, you only have maybe 60 seconds or 30 seconds to talk about yourself and your company, and you put yourself, what I call, on their radar, so that when they're talking, they'll say, you know what? I just was talking to a friend of mine, Faithann, about this very thing. She probably can help you with confidence and, kind of like trim up your message so that you can real quickly, tell someone over coffee you're waiting for Starbucks, or you can tell them real quickly what you do. And yeah, it's easily overlooked, but it's so vastly important. It really is.
Right. Well, and I love, it sounds like what you said is that you like helping the small businesses because it's you can
Yes.
become more personally invested in their making a go of it. There's more emotion
Right.
attached to, we're going to step out, we're going to do something brand new. It's scary, it's exciting, and we want the
Yes, it
best
is.
people around us to help us get our message across.
Yeah,
It's
if
really
we're each
cool.
other's cheerleaders, we're going to get past the finish line.
Right.
But when we look over and we don't have someone in our side cheering, it can be daunting. And the more people you take on your journey, the more of the family you're creating for yourself. And I feel like with networking, Oklahoma is like the smallest large state I've been in. I mean, you could go anywhere in the metro and you'll probably run into someone that you know. And especially at these networking events, it's like family. It's like, oh, I saw you at BNI, or I saw you at Mix and Mingle, or I saw you wherever. That's what's unique about it. And you see how they grow. You see how they're, oh, she's been studying with Faith Ann, so listen to her elevator pitch. You know,
You're
I don't
so
want to call
kind.
anyone out, but one
Yeah.
of your students, I don't want to mention specifically, but he had taken your class and he was so natural sounding and excited about his business. I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. He probably
Mm-hmm.
knows who I'm talking about. But it shows what he learned and what he utilized by listening to you. It just really vastly improved, from the two times I saw him, and just to see how that elevator pitch evolved.
Well, thank
It's
you.
amazing. Yeah.
It's so much fun giving people what they didn't know they had, you know?
Right.
And I keep going back to this concept of your 60 seconds being something that matters. I
It
think that's
is.
the number one thing people don't realize. It doesn't that they think it's
Yeah.
just as like
Because if
any
you
other 60 seconds in the meeting, but it's not.
It's not, because if you have a great friend and she invites you over to a party and you show up at 7 o'clock for the party, they're not going to say, "Okay, everybody, be quiet for 60 seconds." And Connor is going to tell us what he does. Can go. Let's give him a round of applause. That doesn't happen. It only happens in networking meetings.
Mm-hmm.
If you go on the television station, they're only going to allow you to tell what they're interested in. They're going to shape and coerce your whatever. But at these networking groups, you're in the driver's seat for that 60 seconds or that 30 seconds to tell people. You can either waste it and tell them all about how your branding colors and all the stuff that you do with all the stuff that's meaningless to them, or you can say, this is the problem we solve. We make Wonkerers, and Wonkerers need to be on your car, because if not, they fall apart. Or
Mm.
whatever the solution is. People go, oh my gosh, I have a car, I need a Wonkerer, so I will call Jim if I
Mm.
need a Wonkerer, or
Is that
whatever.
even a
So
real thing?
no, I don't think so, but it is now.
That's how little I know about cars. So,
Well, me too. Yeah, I
yeah.
just I just know I get in them, and sometimes you have to put gas in them.
Right. Well, what are some other voice specifically tips that you would have for the networkers who've just listened and who have decided that now they're going to take their 60 seconds seriously? What's some good things and some bad things that they can be thinking about?
So one of the good things is, for one, they want to take that 60 seconds and they want to cram it full of their whole resume and just everything that they're doing. And we've got a special this month, and next month it's going to, you're inundating people with just for one, what do you do? That's why they need to work with someone like yourself, and fine tune their message, and they get it down to just 15 seconds, so that then they can play with adding other stuff to it. And in that, it's critical in that amount of whatever time you have, that you sound self-confident. You sound more confident if you talk slower.
Okay.
Because you are the expert. You know about whatever it is you're selling or what service you provide. They may not necessarily do it, so you don't need to speak. We start speaking fast when we get nervous, And there's so many times at the meetings where people just run through their name like they don't think it's important. It's very important, uh, because people always say they have trouble remembering names. Actually, they probably don't have trouble remembering their names. They have trouble first understanding what the person said
Mm.
and giving it time to sink in so that you can reuse their name so that it becomes more familiar with you. The less you use it, then you're like, oh my gosh, did she say Linda or something else? Then you
Right.
start struggling. So to sound confident, slow yourself down, slow your energy, you breathe, and you just talk to them like you're talking, at Panera Bread, talking about whatever service it is you provide. That will exude confidence because you're talking about what you know.
Hmm.
The other thing I do, I think people just kind of in general get nervous when they're up in front of a group of people, whether it be 3, 15, 20 people, whatever. Um, what I like to do, because with voiceover, a lot of time I'm by myself when I record. I'm in a studio, in my own studio, and there's just me. I don't have to project to someone. Um, but some things that I picked up as a child actor, I was on stage and I was, or not on stage, on sound stages and stuff in front of a group of people. I had to learn to be comfortable with myself to perform. I try to find someone that seems interested in what I'm saying and matches my energy because we are beings of energy. And if we're not feeling the energy from someone, we're not attracted to them in any type of way, whether receptive about what they're talking about or whatever. But if we exude that energy instead of clamping down and making it negative, I think we attract more people. Not to get too new agey sounding, but
Right.
I think that that is something that people needs to be attracted to your message. They have, they either find your shoes interesting or and that just pulls them more in as they start listening to your message and what you provide. So I try to find someone in the audience that seems to be acknowledging me and nodding their head and that sort of thing and making eye contact and talking just to that person because in a group of people, I'm not talking to 30, 40 people or 15 people. I'm talking to one person. I'm just saying, the next time that you know of someone that wants to improve their message through social media or videos or whatever, or even through their answering service, they ought to hire me as a voiceover, keep me in mind. So I'm just talking to that one person. And instead of thinking and getting all excited that I'm talking to a group of people and I need to speak fast, I just bring down the energy a little bit and just talk to the one person one on one because the people in the audience are not thinking, oh, we're a group of people listening to you talk. They're actually sitting there thinking they're talking with me. You know,
Right. Right.
they're kind of like hypnotized in a way because I'm an individual. I'm not part of the group. You're talking to me, just like if you're watching a comedian on television and you laugh, even though you know that that comedian wasn't talking directly to you, but he related to you because you suspended disbelief.
Mm.
So it's kind of the same thing in show business. It's like when we do networking, we find someone we can connect with, and you don't want to just talk to one person and make that person uncomfortable. You want to find several happy friends, throughout the place that you can talk to, and it makes you more comfortable. For me, anyway, is I draw energy from the people that are listening to me.
Right. I love
And so I
talking.
think I
I
do too. It's like, I think that's what a great job for teachers and professors and that sort of thing, because you're impacting lives, you're changing, at least broadening opening the doors and saying, have you ever thought about this?
right.
And
And
same thing with small business. People are so focused on, I need to become this certification to be real estate, or I need to do this
mm,
certification to become a journey tradesman. But almost no one in their own business are really good at marketing. We're
mm,
mostly all nervous about it. Or we have false bravado in that we think we know about it and we really don't. Um,
mhm.
it's something that we all can work on. It's always changing. Social media and marketing in general is always changing. So all of us we're not adults. We're all just children pretending like we know what we're doing. And we just need to realize that about ourselves and don't take life so seriously. It's like
Oh, yeah.
we're all
I
trying to figure this out.
I've said that too. We're all just deep down little 5-year-olds, and
Yes.
that's why networking can be scary for us. Is we don't want to be in the eighth
Right.
grade cafeteria holding our tray, looking around and seeing, oh goodness, nobody. where do I sit? Nobody likes me. I
Right.
mean, we hate that, and we never outgrow
Yeah.
that. It seems like. But I
We
want
don't
to
really don't. It's,
I want
go
to
ahead.
I want to summarize the two things that I think you just said that I got. The tips specifically is to slow down, talk slow, make sure
Right.
you're telling people the problem that you solve, and then connect with one person specifically. Think about talking to one person instead of many people.
That's right, because the goal is if you can convince even just one person, not necessarily, you're not even convincing them, you're just informing them. Because if we're trying to convince them, it turns into a sales thing.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody is really good at sales, and nobody's really wanting to be sold to. But if we can communicate to one individual and make a connection and just say, my name is Connor, and this is what I do. This is the problem that I solve. I want to hear what you do. So just let me tell you a little bit about what I do. We're not trying to sell them. We're just saying, it's like one of those things nobody cares about whether you're a plumber until they need a plumber.
Right.
But hopefully you're on the top of their mind. They're like, you know what? Faithann told me about this gentleman that she had met, and him and his wife run this plumbing business in Edmond. I need to reach out to him because now
Right.
I need a plumber, or my friend needs a plumber. So we don't want to be sold to, but if we can make one connection in that room, that's golden, because that means you probably made two. Just because someone didn't come up to you after a meeting doesn't mean I had someone in other marketing. I do email marketing. I do lots of different types of marketing. One guy that I constantly had sold to, I know that he's on my email list probably for 4 years, never heard from him, but he always stayed in there. I always sent him my newsletters and all that sort of thing. And last year he reached out to me and said, Connor, I've really enjoyed your emails and that sort of thing, but I finally have a project I think that you would be perfect for.
Oh,
So
that's.
he had been hearing all of what I've been doing, even though he didn't have time to respond. You
Mhm.
never know what you don't know. And so, yeah, if we can connect with one person in that room, I think then you've succeeded, because then you've probably reached two, three, or more.
Right. And it just doesn't always happen immediately. It trickles.
Right.
Hi, listeners. Do you struggle when it comes time to deliver your introduction or pitch at your networking meetings? Faithann has put together the 8 tips she uses to make her introduction stand out when she networks. And now you can use them too. Imagine walking into your next event with confidence, knowing exactly how to stand out so people actually remember you. These tips are designed to spark your creativity so you can bring more personality, energy, and originality into your introduction, helping you feel more confident and making it easier for people to connect with you. Grab your free copy of 8 Ways to Make Your Introduction Stand Out by clicking the link in the show notes and download it today.
And that's another reason why I tell people better to attend one networking meeting all the time where people always know they're going to see you. Like the one we attend together regularly. I know I'm going to see you in
Yes,
Norman the first Monday of the month, right? But
that's
it's
exactly right. So if someone's asking me, I say, you know what, Faith Ann will be there. I know for a fact. Let me introduce you to her. Let me do a one-on-one, set you guys up with a one-on-one. You're right. Consistency. It's just like if
right.
we opened a store and I don't feel like going to work, so I'm just going to put closed. Eventually, someone that may want to shop your store that's like, well, they're closed today. I'll just go to, store B, and they
Mhm.
never come back. You have to be consistent. Even if there's no one showing up, you have to show up.
Right. And that's better to attend one regularly than to say, ooh, ooh, like I call it the squirrel effect. Like, because it can be so tempting because on my feed anyway, there's always another networking meeting. There's always another one.
Always. There
But
always will be.
yeah, but you can't go to all of them unless you actually, you have this unicorn schedule where if you can attend 8 in 1 week, that means you can always attend 8. Those same 8 you can go back to month after
That's true.
month, but most people can't. So pick
No,
2 or 3 to go to consistently over
exactly.
8 to kind of pop in and out of because
If you,
especially for meetings that meet monthly, you miss two
true.
months you could just drop off the face of the earth as far as they're concerned, even just missing
Yes.
two.
Out of sight, out of mind. And it's like, and furthermore, you're missing the point of networking. If you're so not busy enough to attend so many meetings, you're probably not working, which means you need to refocus and prioritize your message. You need to prioritize what groups have the type of individuals that you really need to help you get the word out. That's what
Mm-hmm.
you need to do instead of going to every little meeting, because now it sounds like more of a hobby of just going out and being social and having lunch. And it's an investment. Sometimes these turn into longer hour days that you're not dedicating to your business. So you have to, it's like money, you have to spend it wisely.
Right.
You need to, is this time invested properly for me?
I want to ask one more thing, and then I always ask people two questions at the very end.
Okay.
But I would be curious to say, if someone were to say to you, I know I need to slow down, and I know I need to pretend like I'm talking to one person, but man, am I just so nervous. I just hate it. I want to network, I want to meet the people, but when it comes time, like I start shaking and sweating, and then I lose everything that's in my head. Do you have any
Right.
tips for that person? There's probably a lot of people that are like that.
Yeah, a lot of people are. They might be great one-on-one with an individual, or if they're in a situation where they're coming to someone's aid, that's their superpower. Their superpower probably, if they're like most people, and most people are, is getting up in front of a group of people and talking. Because unless you're an actor like myself, that's probably not something you do. Um, Even salesmen, usually work one-on-one with someone. They're not used to getting up in front of a group of people and performing, and telling them about themselves. And it's not easy, unless you're an actor, to kind of talk about yourself, because you kind of get in the habit of doing that. But you don't want to sound egotistical. There's all these social things that you got to be careful about. Um, the main thing is, I think, to me, I think you have to keep in mind, what is my focus for today? What am I really up there for? You're not up there to entertain. You're not up there to be the beauty pageant queen. You're not up there to have the best looking shoes. You're
Mm-hmm.
up there to basically remind them of what you do, so that if throughout their day, throughout their week, they're meeting someone that possibly could use you, they can recommend you. That's how you increase your network. So I think if you keep in that focus that I'm just there to increase my business, and who doesn't love increasing their business, and not only for their service that they love, but also, of course, for the money that we have to pay the mortgage and put food on the table.
Mm-hmm.
So I think taking your mind off of those jitters, and it's not easy. It's something with practice. The more you do it, the easier it'll become. And especially if they work with a coach like yourself, where they constantly are working on practicing their elevator pitch. 90% of that is exactly what they're nervous about. What am I going to say? What
Mm-hmm.
are people thinking, or how are they going to criticize what I'm saying? If they can get that message done right, pretty soon they're saying it just like they're rolling off their name or whatever, that
Mm-hmm.
pitch, but they need to make it sound relatable. I can't, how many times do people have this little funny thing that they say? They get this punchline about their business, and we might remember that, but we don't remember really what they do, because it's so memorized. It sounds memorized. You
Mm-hmm.
actually need to communicate with people. Um, when we're talking, even here, you're not on a script and I'm not on a script, but we're talking. I didn't sit down and think, okay, now this is what I'm going to talk about, Faithann. This is okay. We're not. We didn't have
Mm-hmm.
anything prepared. The same with these networking meetings. But if you work with the coach like yourself, and you work out in your mind, this is what I need to talk about, this is what I want to talk about, then you get that out of the way, then you're not nervous. So I think that if they're that nervous, they need to work with a coach and say,
Mm-hmm.
show me the way of taking down those jitters. Plus, they need to know everyone in that room is probably thinking about what they're going to say.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we spend most of our conversations, okay, not listening to the individual. We're thinking about, okay, what am I going to say if they say this? We're thinking about what our next, and that's not the way we communicate. Because if I'm anticipating what you're going to ask me here, then I'm not listening to. I can't be in a dialogue with you. I'm too
Right.
busy in my head thinking, I wonder what Faithann's going to ask me those final two questions. Oh my gosh, I'm
The-
not in that moment. I mean, so there is a book. I'm trying to remember. I'm remiss with the gentleman's name, but it's called The Power of Now.
mm.
I recommend that to anyone. And so it's talking about being in the moment right now. Don't worry about yesterday. Don't worry about tomorrow, but all we're guaranteed is right now, because tomorrow's gone. And I mean, yesterday's gone.
Yesterday.
Tomorrow may not. Yeah, it may not happen. So, yeah, just be in the right now. Be present with people because they're important enough in your life that they're quiet and respect you to listen to what you did,
Right.
and you should do the same. And listen to what their pitch is.
Right.
So I think those little things that helps with taking off the knowing that everyone's going through those same nervousness and that sort of thing. I think to me that helps take it down. Like, okay, we're all going through this. We all
Yeah.
had to learn to drive. We all had to do that first day in kindergarten or first grade where we walked in and we didn't know anybody.
Right.
But we
That's
ended up probably graduating with a few of those people.
right.
You had a friend for life.
Right. Yeah. And
And like you and I would never have met you had it not been through Amy Singleton's networking. I
right.
would never have met you.
Right. She invited so many people to that one particular meeting that we were at. She was always
Yes,
inviting new people to that. And
constantly.
she's a
And that's
real
just the way it
go-getter.
happens.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
love her.
right. Well, I so appreciate you coming on and talking to us. And
My pleasure.
yeah, so I always ask two questions.
Okay.
What do you like to see when you network?
So what I really like to see is, I like to see people arrive a little bit early. I know they always say it's fashionable late, but not with a networking because when it's too late, they're in the middle. You're missing people's discussion about themselves, their spotlight. But more importantly, um, the meeting may be going on and they need to leave as soon as it's over with, as soon as they eat lunch or whatever. But getting there early, you start to meet people and you see them as genuinely who they are. And that to me is when you make the most sincere contacts, not just handing them business cards.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need business cards. I mean, we do, but what I'm saying is more importantly, what we need is shaking hands or, if you know them well, giving each other a hug or you're bonding with that individual so that, you've got each other's back and you help each other with the business. So what I love to see is I love to see that camaraderie, that sense of community at each networking that I go to. And I think when I'm at a networking event that I've never been to, I know also that it's also like other networking. There's
Right.
people that are desperately trying to fit in and we're taken back to those years in high school or junior high where we might have been bullied. Like, what if nobody invites me on the team or what if nobody invites me to sit down at their table?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not that. It's not junior high. It's not high school. These are people that are wanting to make connections, and it's not about who has the coolest car or who at whatever. It's about how can I help you? How can you help me? And so that's what I like to see at network. I love that immediate bonding at the beginning of just the small talk before everyone takes their place, and Faithann says, "Okay, now the meeting's coming to order."
Right. Well, I usually have somebody like you or Jeff or somebody who's got a loud
Yeah,
voice to get a,
right.
because mine is tiny, teeny, teeny, and nobody can ever hear me anyway. So, and also I
No,
think, don't you think too? You find that the ones that come early, it's like they're very at ease. Like the meeting
totally.
hasn't quite quote unquote started yet, so you get them a little bit more authentic because they're not anticipating, okay, now I have to, it's just
Right.
we're here early, we're just hanging out, and you get a little bit more
That's it. Like, what are you going to have for lunch?
right.
Cool. I saw you. What did you get a new car? Oh, or it was used? Oh, wow. You're talking about things that are just normal that we all go through.
Hmm.
And that's to me is refreshing and it sets the pace because if you arrive late to the meeting, you're going to be rushed. And then you get up for your 30 seconds, you're going to rush that message.
Hmm.
And people have no idea what you said. They don't know what your name is. They don't even know what you do.
Hmm.
Um, I again not to call anyone out, but there was at an event that you and I were at about a month ago, someone had got up and he or she was talking about something specific, and after they got done, I got to think I have no idea what they were talking about because they assumed that we were in their head and that we could read their minds, and to me that was kind of ineffective. It's like they need help. So I approached this individual. I told them if I can help you in any way, I know someone, Faithann, you were there, so you need to speak with her about getting your message out. Everything is good, but you need to be very clear about what you do because we may know nothing about cars, which, you and I have talked to, we don't know anything about cars.
Right.
We may not know about roofing, or I may
Right.
not know how to clean windows.
Right.
I guess I know who to call.
Right.
Faithann,
I'm there.
who
I'm
do,
going to be there. Yeah.
right. So I think that, yeah, that sets the pace for the entire thing. And, you know, they're more apt to also on the secondary trail. They're also, they might mention you probably when they're talking and saying, you know what, Faithann and I had a one-on-one and that it worked out great. And, we've traded information, and it kind of helps because that's another time that you're being introduced to the crowd, uh, by a testimony from Faithann or from whoever saying, I've also worked with Tom, and he and his wife are great. They're fantastic people, So
Right.
if you're relaxed and that sort of thing, it does set the pace for the whole meeting, I think.
Right. And it's generally a little quieter. And, I don't like loud anyway. It's hard for me to hear. So I like the
Yes.
early, I like the quietness of it. And then, I like it all, but.
I do too, but it's time that's when you can say, you know what, hey, let's do a one-on-one lunch or a Zoom meeting next week, and you exchange information. A lot
Mhm.
of stuff is made that at the end of the meeting, they may not have time. They, oh my gosh, I got to run out.
Right.
My boss is expecting me here. They may not have time.
Right.
So yeah, I do love the early risers.
So, what do you not like to see when you network?
Someone who's disingenuous, someone who's just there to check it off of their list. All right, okay, I handed out business cards. So I don't like to see, unless some events are very specific with their rules. But if you're there and you arrive early just to put business cards on every table when they weren't asked for, and you're not probably the featured speaker, I think that's a little presumptuous, and it's a waste of time for you and for the individuals they didn't ask for your information, and you're thinking that they need the information. But actually, the social interaction is what people really need. They don't need to be
Yeah.
handed another business card, because most people throw them away. If they
Right.
don't interested in it and put it right in their phone, it gets thrown in the trash. So I don't like to see people with the business card too much. As you might be in the middle of talking with someone, and someone will walk, hey, Faithann, I gotta go, but I just want to give you my card. Hey, call me. Have your people call my people. We'll do lunch. That's
Yeah.
disingenuous, and it's kind of rude.
Yeah.
Say, hey, Sybil sends out a thing, or this particular meeting sends out something. I'm going to be on there. Can I reach out to you? And I didn't get a chance to talk with you. And anyway, I'm sorry for the interruption. And that to me, that's more interesting than just handing someone's card just to check it off your bucket list, because we don't need another business card. We
Right.
need someone to interact with us socially and say, this is why, because we're in a social era. I mean, this is social media.
Right.
And this is even more important because it's in person, one-on-one a lot of time. So I think I don't like to see someone who's disingenuous and doesn't respect other people, doesn't respect them or doesn't respect their time, because, we all need money, but that time we'll never get back,
Right.
because, they would talk about, someone on their deathbed. They never said, bring me my checkbook, or bring me, something about bring my children to me.
Mhm.
Bring the picture of my mother to me. They're wanting to have that time back, which you can't get. You can always get more money,
Mhm.
but you can never get that 30 seconds back, that minute back, that day back. You
Right.
never will, no matter how rich you are.
Yeah. And my
So
my rule, this is just for me, is that I never give my business card to anyone that doesn't ask for it. Never.
that's a great point. Absolutely. It's presumptuous, and they probably are not going to. And at the same time, those people who just ask it because they think, oh, that's what he's wanting me to ask. Don't do that. If you really are not interested, don't waste their resources. But
Yeah.
if you genuinely want to connect with them, then ask for a card.
Right.
But yeah, so it's a two-way street. I'm the same way. I don't give a card unless they say, oh, Connor, do you have a card? I
Mhm.
do.
I was
I don't mind doing it.
I was just listening to a podcast too, and I don't remember who it was, but this gentleman has a particular pocket. He's two back pockets when he wear, I guess, his jeans or something. But he puts he puts the cards that are given to him unsolicited in one pocket, and he puts the cards that he's asked for in a different pocket. So he knows.
Are you serious?
That, like, the ones in my left, maybe they're going to go in the trash or whatever, but the ones in my right are the actual ones I want to connect with. So it's people,
brilliant.
Yeah, people really do. If you're serious about networking, you have things like that help you make the most use of your time. And the last thing we need, those of us, you and I, and people who want to use networking to grow our businesses, is unsolicited business cards. Just FYI out there, listeners, consider maybe adopting this for maybe 3 months and see what happens.
I think it's great. So how do you feel about you're coming outside of Walmart and you're getting to your car only to find 3 pamphlets on your window that you never asked for?
Oh, yeah.
It's insincere. It's just like getting spam in the mail that says, "Dear customer, you
Right.
are so valued," and they have your address wrong, and or if they put that, it's like, no, I would rather, not that I'm saying I would want someone at Walmart to meet me outside and say, "Hey, do you have a few minutes to hear about my stock tips?" No, I'm just saying in the appropriate area, i.e. networking, I would rather deal with someone one-on-one than just get their business card handed to me, or just say, "Oh, you know what? If you need my business card, there's one on the table."
Mm-hmm.
No,
Yeah. Right.
respect yourself and respect myself that, you hand me your card. And I kind of like, I think that you and I have talked about this, but I think it's the Japanese, correct me if I'm incorrect,
I wrote
but the
an
way
article,
they present,
Mm-hmm.
the way they present, I love the way they present their business card. If you haven't heard this, you need to talk to Faithann. She has a whole presentation, and will show you how they present them. It's beautiful, and I think it's the way we should really adopt it in the West.
Yeah, there's an article on it, and I'll link it in the show notes on my blog. And I don't
Oh, perfect.
remember which one it is, but it's
I don't either, but I remember you and I talking about that, and
Mhm.
yeah, it's. I had no idea that was the thing. And it's a beautiful cultural thing.
Right. Well, where can people find you, Connor, if they want to hire you to help them? It doesn't have to be local, but a business. It really, listeners, I would just encourage you, if it's something that you're thinking about doing and you think that there's no way you can afford it, just inquire. It doesn't cost you anything to inquire and see, because you
we do a
probably will be
discovery
surprised.
call or whatever.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because I work with some of the most iconic brands in the world. Sandals Resorts here in Oklahoma. I've been doing the voice of Brahms off and on for many years, but those are in no way the type of budgets or programs basically that I will do for small and mom and pop organizations. So definitely reach out to me. My budgets are tailored to what your needs are, but they can reach me on my website, which is voxguy.com, and or find me on LinkedIn. I use LinkedIn a great deal, and they can send me a DM that way. I would love to help them with their messaging and whatever voiceovers they might need for their videos for their company. Sometimes it does help to have a third person talk about your company rather than just this local typical sounding ad where they're just talking about their business. Sometimes that's needed, but sometimes it's more efficient to have someone else do it.
Mm-hmm.
And God forbid they use AI. If I hear AI on a YouTube video, I just shut it off because it sounds so. They're not even taking the time to hire someone or even read it themselves. I'd rather them read it themselves than have an AI do it, because it, even as well as technology has moved, it just still sounds like an AI.
Now
it just doesn't sound human.
Do you write copy also? If like the electrician's like, well, yeah, I'd love for you to come and do an ad. I don't know. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I do a lot of boutique stuff. Some people go through agencies and stuff, but there's a lot of us that are small mom and pop that don't have the budgets for that. So that is a service I provide, that I can help them tailor a message that's unique for them.
Okay.
To put on a maybe a landing page on their website or a social media that they're putting out on TikTok or LinkedIn. Yeah, absolutely. That's something that I definitely can help them with.
Oh, great. And see, I didn't even know that. So
really?
how many times have we talked? Because
I know.
when
1,570. Yeah, I've write it down here. 1,574.
yeah,
Faithann.
right. No, but whenever so when I hired, you already knew what I wanted to say, and so I just
You
said, "Say this," but I didn't have
She
thought.
did, and just that tone of voice, she said that too. Say it.
You better.
Say it. Don't spray it.
Right. Well, actually, I think the first version, I was like, no, I don't like that version. So then I'm like, you're going to have to do it again because, and you did.
Yep.
I mean, you worked with me for us
Oh, absolutely. There's
together.
a lot of back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if it's important, a lot of people, usually I'll do one free revision if they get it back and they're just like, I want you to change the tone a little bit, or I want to change the words. And I'm not a nickel and dime type of guy where like, well, that correction is X amount of dollars. I'm not that way. I'm more budget friendly because I want to help them achieve success with what they're doing. And I think that's important for all of us here in Oklahoma is Oklahomans love Oklahomans. And
Right.
I didn't know that till I moved here. I wasn't born in Oklahoma, but I feel like I've been here long enough that I'm now Oklahoman,
Yeah. Well, we'll take you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, no, I mean, I always say wherever I go, there's nothing like Oklahoma. And you know what? When you say Oklahoma, the word home is in it.
Oh, you're right.
Well, you like what I did? Yeah, see, I can write copy. Faithann. See?
Right.
You like that? All
hey,
right, thank
I'll
you so
tell
much.
you something. My dad, when he was on a bus from, I can't remember because he was born in Oklahoma, and he was going somewhere, and somebody called him an Okie. He was like 5 or 6.
Right.
And he cried because he thought it was a derogatory term. Isn't that sweet?
That's
They
so
called me
funny.
an
Yes.
Okie. Yeah.
What would they say? Oh, bless his heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they mean it in a good way. I know that can be a bad, like, oh, bless her heart. But that, we don't.
Right.
We mean it in a good way. It
Right.
can be a double-edged sword
Yeah.
when they say bless your heart.
Right. But Okie is always
someone. Okie is always good, and I've never, I came from LA, so. But someone for the first time ever the other day, and I don't know if this was. I don't think it's an insult. I took it, but she was talking to me. She goes, an older woman. She goes, well, Sugarfoot. What I'm thinking is, and I had to look it up. What is a Sugarfoot?
Yeah.
And it's a term of endearment. I've never heard someone call another human, okay, Sugarfoot. But it does sound sweet. But
yeah.
maybe, I didn't know. Maybe she was cussing me out. I didn't know. But she wasn't.
Yeah.
It was a term of endearment.
Oh,
I'll take that.
My grandpa, when I was like 11, he's like, I want you to go to the store and buy Oleo. And I wasn't 11 because I could drive. So I had to go to the store and get Oleo. Do you know what Oleo is?
In my mind, it's like margarine or butter, right?
Mm-hmm. I had no
Yeah.
idea. I'm like, what are you
Oh,
talking
well,
about? And he's like, Oleo. And he got mad at me because I didn't know what Oleo was. Like, I have no idea
I
what
haven't
you
heard that
mean.
word in
Yeah.
Right. I mean, well, okay. My mom sent me, I'm an actor for a reason because I have no other ability than to talk. When I was a little boy, my mom sent me to the store. In those days we rode bikes that actually got dirt and we didn't have phones or pagers even. So I rode my bike all the way down to the grocery store. She needed, some lettuce. So I got it, came back, and she was laughing. I couldn't figure out why. It was like I brought her cabbage.
Oh, yeah. Much
To
different.
me, it looked like lettuce.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Totally different. Yeah. So those sandwiches taste a little bit weird, but that's how I learned.
Yeah. Yeah. Live and learn. Well,
Right.
thank you, Connor. This has been so much fun. And you
Yes.
guys, networking, there's so many benefits. So
Yes.
get out there, listener, get out there and live a little and meet some people. I promise you they want to meet you, they want to know you, and they want to help you. Thanks so much,
Yes,
Connor.
they do. As Dr. Laura, well, thank you. And as Dr. Laura used to say, now go take on the day.
Oh, that's nice. Go take on the day.
You've been listening to the Networkers Tour Guide podcast with Faithann Basor. Share this episode with a friend and be sure to come back next week for more networking tips and tricks from the Networkers Tour Guide.